In this video, I'm going to talk about the UseEffect function. This function is executed after a component is rendered and when a specific variable has been changed. Okay. For this example, I have this component, the main component, and it has a composition um, that has different components. Okay. Uh, the most important component for this example is this book list. Now let's see this component in action to see all the elements that as part of this composition. Okay, I'm going to use this navigator, this browser. Okay, this is the component. Let me click here, and I have here what we need. We have this is a kind of navigation bar for handbooks and authors, and this is a component with a title. This is a title for books. Okay, this is a component that is that stores information about book titles. Okay, it has a save button, and when we store, we send that title to the backend. It is stored in a database, and those those records are shown in this book list. Okay. Now, at the moment, I don't have any book here in this list because there is no any method that is calling the backend to get all the books and to present all those books in this list. Okay. Now we need to do that at the beginning, at the first render. Okay. And the best way to implement this behavior is using the UseEffect function. Now let's change to the component. We have here, this is the book list. This is the component we are focused, and is this part here. We can see only a title, but what we want to do is to get all the book links with the first render and to show all the um, all the books in this list. Now, as you can see, this book list has a property. This is a parameter that receives this variable. This variable has the list of books that comes from the backend, and the method that is establishing that variable is this set books that is inside of this function get books handler. Okay, this function make the request to the backend using the fetch function and getting all the information and mapping all those information into that uh, that book variable. Okay, now we need to call to execute this method, this function, and the best way to do this is using the UseEffect function. Now this function has two parameters. First one is a function that is executed when the component is rendered. Now I'm going to write a message to test this behavior. I'm going to write here getting books. Okay. Now I'm going to check this It is going to be executed when a render happens. As you can see here, on the first render, it shows the getting books message. Okay, if I reload this here, if I refresh, I I see the same message. Okay, now this method inside the UseEffect function is being executed when a render happens. Okay, but if another variable change or another process generates a render, it's going to be executed. So we are going to be making requests when we have all the book links here, and that's not a good idea. We need to do this only once. And okay, if you want to do that, we can use the second parameter for this UseEffect function. And this second parameter is the dependency. Okay, the dependency can have variables, and that variable executes this method when they are changed. Okay, if this variable changed for some reason, this method is going to be executed. Okay, but if we don't establish these dependencies, this is going to be executed only once. And the reason is because the UseEffect is going to be executed at the first render. And if we have another render, it's going to verify if there is a change here. But if we don't have anything here, there is no going to be any change. And for that reason, it is not going to be executed again. Okay, only the first time at the very first render. Okay, now let's check this here. Okay, I'm going to reload here. We have this only once. Okay, for every render. Now that we have the behavior that we want, we can set the get books handler function here, and we are going to get or execute this the very first time. This behavior is something similar to a constructor, okay, because it's being executed only once. But okay, this is not a constructor. This is something different. I'm going to save this, and let's check a little graphic here. Okay, we can see in this flowchart the behavior when a component is rendered. React verify if it is the first render. Okay, if it is the first, it executes the function. Okay, now let's check that here. Okay, see the first render. It is the first render. It's going to execute this function. Okay, now if it's not, it verifies if a dependency changed. In this case, we don't have dependencies, so for that reason we don't have any change. And if it is not, it finished. Okay, the UseEffect function finished. And the opposite behavior is going to execute the function. Okay, for that reason, we have this execution only once. Okay, now let's check if we have all the books here. Okay, as you can see, we have 2 books. for this uh, this list. I'm going to reload here to refresh, and the same happens because at the first render it um, is going to be executed and to get all the books in the database. Okay, and what is activated the render for this use effect? Okay, is this books variable. Every time this uh, books is established, it's triggered the re-render process. Okay, and it is happening here inside the get books handler. Okay, because this set books is being executed with the books information, and that is established here, and the render process started started starts again and again, but this is executed only once. Well, now you know how to do this, and well,